absolutely right. And we brought that point up last night. This is a federal crime. We do have a lawyer on tonight's panel. It's a great panel, and let's welcome them. She's an attorney. We have two lawyers. And Rising PAC senior advisor Alex Wilkes is here, along with criminal defense attorney. Maybe he will defend Jussie tonight, David Bruno, and WWE superstar Dolph Ziggler.
Not a lawyer.
He's lawyer-like.
I've pretended
in
to
the
be
ring.
Free men. I think it's the same thing.
That's right. He's rolling. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Alex, I will start with you, and I think the judge brings up a very good point, because as Jussie is crafting this big scenario, I don't think it occurred to him that sending himself a fake death threat could actually be more problematic than the fake assault.
This isn't just, a simple hoax. This is really a violation of federal law at the end of the day, because he's using the instrumentalities of interstate commerce to perpetrate this fraud. Look, I think, though, more than a legal question, it really does bring up about what is so lacking in our human condition in modern times that would cause somebody to do something like this, not only to malign a whole group of supporters, but to engage in such self-destruction as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, David, you're a defense attorney, so obviously you're looking at this from a different angle.
Right.
For those of us who consume news, it's fascinating because the story keeps changing, and he was arrested this morning.
Right.
But you're looking at this
we just
criminal
heard a quote
defense
from
attorney.
his attorney essentially saying he's innocent. That would not be my defense.
What would you have
I would do exactly what you and the doctor talked about. Get him into some treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Get him into counseling. If he doesn't qualify for an inpatient facility, let's get him some therapy and go that route and explain why he did all this, because he took advantage of a racial divide in the country, political divide. He used Make America Great Again in the letter itself and wanted it said in the attack. I mean, I have to question why he does all these things, and I agree with you. I don't think it's just because he wants more money. I mean, this is taking advantage of discord in our country. It sounds like the Russians.
But we know a lot of people who are very upset by the current political climate. So,
but they're not staging attacks.
If you are not taking responsibility at all, and you read the complaints,
right?
And obviously, Chicago PD and the DA are able to lay out, based on the evidence they have, his intent and motivation. So if you go before a judge and say, no, it wasn't me, I was still attacked, it was a hate crime, these people are awful.
You can, because there is still a presumption of innocence, and they have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, absolutely. But as the attorney, you want to position yourself to defend the case, and that's not exactly the best step with this evidence.
So in what you do, you always want to maximize a moment. And, I don't think there's the adage, there's no bad press. That's never more applicable than in professional wrestling.
Sure.
So is there something about where he is right now? Let's take the motivation and the legality out of it. Is there something about his visibility that could benefit him?
I mean, clearly there are options that could go that way. And maybe his thinking is, if this happened to me, maybe it's a story where you hear about Bill Murray doing things all the time. Like, Bill Murray came up and took a french fry off my table or something. Bill Murray saved these kids from a burning home. Nah.
Bill Murray danced with the bride at a wedding that he wasn't invited to. Yeah.
But if just some normal, everyday person ran in and saved some kid, you're like, oh, that's a cool story, next. And you don't care. But when it's goes to show today, where he is all over the news today with actual things happening day to day that we don't care about as much. So there is that celebrity status that you can live and die by, and maybe he thought, being out there, the world's going to be watching me. This is my chance to stand up for what I believe in.
Does he have another life because of this? I mean, does this somehow enhance his celebrity? Could he go to WWE and fight the brothers?
I don't know. I mean, anything can happen. This is too serious. Too much time and money and resources were wasted while murders were happening around the country and in Chicago. I don't know that that's welcome with our company. But I am not one to speak for it. But at the end of the day, much like you said with Dr. Drew, there's going to be a book deal. There's going to be possibly some rehab. Here's what's wrong. And I think the text message that you have, where he was maybe buying drugs, possibly from these other guys, like, oh, there's where it is. He was hooked on these drugs. These guys were involved. Into rehab. He'll atone for it and come out and have 2 books and make the talk show tour.
And 2 babies. It'll be great. All right, much more with the panel. They are returning.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, they're returning later. We're also going to talk. I will talk with Camille Foster about the true cost of fake hate crimes. First up, though, Congress slated to vote on the Green New William Barr was just sworn in as AG, and Senator Lindsey Graham, a close ally of the president's, now sits atop the Senate Judiciary Committee. So should those two take another look at the Hillary server debacle? The panel is back. Alexandra Wilkes, David Bruno, and Dolph Ziegler. Alex, so I will start with you because you are not only a lawyer, you are a political beast. And James Comey, last time he was questioned before Congress in the closed-door session, which the transcript was later made public, unlike Baker's testimony. He said, yeah, they're questioning me again about Hillary's emails. It's so boring. Republicans are dumb. Do you think there is something here still that has yet to be unearthed, and is it wise to continue the expedition?
Well, I have to say, and I'll admit to something, that I spent the $29 to buy Andrew McCabe's book at the Fort Lauderdale Hudson News the other day, just to see, sort of what he was saying. And what really struck me in this narrative that he was telling was that he was not really admitting or owning up to the fact that he has a bias here, that he was incredibly complimentary of the Obama Justice Department while, being incredibly derisive to both the Bush Justice Department and the Trump Justice Department.
He's basically saying in the subtitle of the book that he's saving the world from the threat, which is terror and Trump.
Well, and so I say this because both with Comey and with McCabe, they tell these tales that are just so grand and so self-serving in so many ways that it really does make me think that there might be something more there. By the way, Andrew McCabe, for example, glosses over in the book about Peter Strzok, and sort of other instances that it's just sort of swept under the rug.
What happened in his office? No one has satisfactorily explained that. And we don't know the extent of Lisa Page's explanation, but it was obviously less hostile than Peter Strzok's. But I do want to talk about this because what they're accusing the Trump team of having done, they've all done the same thing, which is lying before Congress, whether it's Comey or McCabe or Clapper or Brennan. They've all done the same thing, and Roger Stone's going to do some time for that, at least Roger Stone.
Yeah, the Inspector General has made findings that McCabe lied to the FBI and the Inspector General.
And by the way, the U.S. Attorney's case is still open against McCabe. And McCabe's lawyer had to admit that they're still having ongoing conversations, and a grand jury has been convened in that case.
But what's taking so long? That was April of 2018. We're almost exactly. And what better motivation for the new Attorney General to put that back on the table and say, what is taking so long here? Let's move. And when you ask the question about the committees, I think, yes, it will be looked at because I think the Russian interference issues that involve the same people, McCabe, Comey, Peter Strzok, right? Let's not forget, Peter Strzok was the one that actually altered the memo from grossly negligent to extremely careless. He's the guy.
He's the guy, absolutely right.
And Comey said no reasonable prosecutor would ever believe that this is a criminal.
Is that the job of the FBI?
It's not.
Are they the
Baker's
chief prosecutor?
Job. It was Baker's job. He was the one in the room that actually said this may be a crime, but yet Comey is standing up in front of the country saying that no reasonable prosecutor would ever prosecute.
Yeah, and he was the one who said until the very end that he thought that she was grossly negligent.
Right.
And that doesn't necessarily deal with intent. It means you are such a dingbat. You're not even expressing the level of care required of the Secretary of State of the United States. So should we lock her up?
I'll miss the chant if she's already in. They're like, keep her in. I don't know what you change it to. What was the name of the book? The Insurance Policy? Is that what it was called?
Oh, God. Dang, I fell for it.
I know a knock-knock joke I can tell you also. No, it's everything like this that leaks out and you get little pieces keeps going when Trump says there's a deep state and everyone goes, you're a conspiracy theorist, and you go, if it walks like a deep state and talks like a deep state, Trump's crazy. Yeah. And then every time one of these leaks out, everyone goes, oh, another version of fake news. Oh, the same thing happens in politics for hundreds of years, but now we got to get Trump because Hillary was supposed to win. And that makes it so unfortunate for everybody else because these have been done and they've been caught lying and they don't do any time.
But the crazy thing about it is this would be such a distraction for her. She can't not run. Because if Liz Warren is running and Bernie's running and Joe Biden's going to run, she can't not run. But with Bernie, there's unfinished business because he should have been the nominee. And he's like, no, I'm back for vengeance. Joe Biden said he's thinking, I should have been the nominee. Obama should have backed me, and he backed her because it was supposedly her turn. I'm out for vengeance. And she's going to be like, well, there really was nothing in my emails. And it's such a distraction. So I hope she runs just so she doesn't get the nomination. Anyone want to take that?
If it comes down to if Bernie is is about to get it again, they will take it away from him again.
I know, it's so
because
sad.
not only is it not his turn now, it was supposed to be possibly his turn.
Yeah.
And I remember at the convention when he went up to the podium and that morning the emails came out. They go, he is not our guy. Hillary is. Take care of it. I watched him sit up there. I got chills. I go, please tell him to all skip.
You know what he is?
And
He's
he
Charlie
didn't.
Brown, and he's about to kick the football. He thinks he's going to kick the football.
Hillary Lucy's going to pull it away.
He could raise some money.
He can.
I mean, the numbers
Hallelujah.
are
I want
6
him to
million
run my
in a
GoFundMe
couple
campaign.
hours,
Yeah.
right?
But now he's the old white guy in the room.
Well, they all
Can't
are.
have a white guy.
You know, so is everyone's the old white guy. Thank you guys so much, Dolph, David, and Alex. Coming up, police say Jussie Smollett faked a hate crime.